fly around the whole world, everywhere, and we can't go somewhere unless we have flown there first. Get ready for some high flying and crazy antics from an amateur pilot who's not a professional and only started playing Microsoft Flight Simulator recently. So buckle up, you're gonna need it, you're probably going to get sick, and get ready for a crazy journey. Welcome to the world tour where we fly from where I live in the Austin area, so we're going to pick the San Marcos Regional Airport, and I have to fly to each place I want to go. I can't just spawn my plane there. That's the challenge. So the world tour, here we go. First leg of the world tour, San Marcos Regional Airport in Texas to Santa Fe Regional Airport in Municipal Airport in New Mexico. We've got our plane here with a full load of fuel. The tail number and call sign is MC 1985, standing for Model Citizen 1985, the year Back to the Future came out. And the flight number is always going to be 85 WW for worldwide. And here we go. Alright, here we are, San Marcos Municipal Airport. And we're going to go ahead and start our first flight on this world tour. Here we are in this private jet. I picked a private jet. Another thing about this challenge is that because it's not a big, huge Boeing or Airbus, you know, wide body jet, it can only go so far, so we have to really be careful about planning our trips because it can't just fly across the world. This is a small business jet, private jet. Kind of makes it more fun in my opinion. So here we are starting up the plane, and I'm going to do some things I like to do for fun, like come over here and turn on the strobe lights, the taxi lights, turn on the seatbelt lights just in case we had passengers, which by the way, this is what the back of the plane looks like. Remember, this is a private plane. This is what it looks like back here. It's just a little plane. I like to pretend like since I'm flying around the world in this plane, I have converted. I'm like a millionaire or billionaire at this point, and I like to pretend like I've converted this into a bed. I've got like a bed over here, maybe something like that. Yeah, I can sleep back here. That's just what we're gonna pretend like. I can basically live in this thing if I have to. Alright, so this game does not have, on smaller airports like this airport, it does not have an option to push back. You can't push the plane backwards, so we have to drive forward through this equipment here, which is stupid, but we just have to do it. So let's call air traffic control. There we go. Alright, so air traffic control, I'm going to ask them, I tell them I want to depart north. Alright, here we go. Nope, we're already rolling. Like I said, we're gonna clip through. We're gonna clip through things. So hopefully we don't hit this guy standing there. Yeah, looks like we cleared him. He's just standing there staring at that prop plane for some reason. This is the runway that we're going to take off from, I think. I'm not sure. We're going to stop here. Yeah, it looks like it. Here we go. Flaps out. Rotate. And we're off. Landing gear up. Flaps. Retracted. Alright. We're not heading north. I don't understand. Why does it say north departure? We are heading southeast. I don't understand. Well, I'm going to go ahead and turn. I'm going to do a little flyby, like I said, of San Marcos, Texas. And there it is, San Marcos, Texas. Texas State University. It's downtown. That's the San Marcos, Texas State campus. It's pretty accurate. Some buildings are missing, but it's pretty accurate. Curious if it has the stadium, Texas State football stadium. Now we're talking to Austin Radio Tower. The Texas State campus is a beautiful campus. It really is. Yeah, I do see the football stadium. Is it accurate though? No, that's the baseball stadium, sorry. There's the football stadium. And no, it's not totally detailed. In fact, the stands look like they're flat into the ground. But it looks pretty good. Everything looks pretty good. And so flying back over the airport, this is where we can get our heading, but I'm heading the wrong way, so I'm going to do another pass over the airport here. Let's turn. Yeah, we're going to want to turn. You can go ahead and start climbing. Engines up. Engines full power. Austin's that way, but like I said, I don't want to fly by Austin because I did that already, and like I said, it's not totally accurate. I think that's probably what that marker is over there. Could fly by San Antonio, which is the other way, but starting off my home, like I said, I'm going to fly around the whole world. Alright, where's the airport? Allison Air Park. There it is. Fly back over the airport. And now we're talking to Houston for some reason. Alright, once we get over the airport, we're going to point to a heading of 289. Start turning now. Heading of 275. Alright, get ready. 309, I'm sorry. We need to point to a heading of 309. There we go. Oh, now we overshot it. There we go. 309. Well, there we go. Let's go ahead and set the autopilot. First, we're going to do altitude. Altitude of 40,000. Heading of 309. Alright, turn on the autopilot. At least set the heading. Heading select. There we go. And flight level control. You know what? I'm not going to do 40,000. I'm going to do 29,000 feet. We're already at 11,000, so just a little bit more climbing, and we'll be at cruise range. Over here on this side, like I said, it's going to be Austin. That's Austin Bergstrom Airport right there. That's what that is. Yeah, this is South Austin. You can see, you know, a lot of development. This is Southwest Austin over here, and I grew up over here. Let's see. If it weren't so there's downtown Austin. I can see it right now. You see it right there. See the buildings, and there's a river going through the middle of downtown Austin. And maybe you could see downtown San Antonio if you look to your left, because Austin and San Antonio are only 70 miles from each other. They're not that far. Let's see. Is that, let's see here. Yeah, I mean that might be San Antonio International, I'm not sure. Over in this direction would be San Antonio. So Canyon Lake. Alright. 17,000 feet. Yeah, we're definitely closer to Austin than San Antonio. Bye-bye. Texas in general. We're going to be flying to at least one state over, New Mexico. And we'll continue from there. My goal is to make it across the ocean. I want to fly to Hawaii. Because remember, this plane can't fly all the way, you know, can't fly from like California to like Japan, you know, can't fly that far. So I'm going to try to make it to maybe Hawaii and then hit the other islands on the way to Asia. And we'll just keep going from there, hit up the whole world. So we're at 20,000 feet, 20,500 feet. So right there is Interstate 40, that major road right there, and this is Tucumcari Airport. So we're over New Mexico now. We're over New Mexico. That's Interstate 40 going to Albuquerque. Albuquerque should be over there somewhere. Somewhere that way. We should probably start descending pretty soon because we're not that far from Santa Fe. Let's see. 200. Yeah, we're going to start descending. We're going to start turning left. So let's go ahead and turn it left and descend. Okay, first altitude of 20,000 feet. Flight level change on, engines dialed back. So, trying to avoid these mountains over here. That might be Interstate 25 over there. It's a major interstate highway. I've been on it before. Alright, I'm going to say... So, the air traffic control wants us to pass the airport and turn around and land. Again, I don't know if this is realistic. I feel like pilots in real life don't do this. They don't just fly straight into the clouds, but that's what I'm doing. I'm not an expert. I'm not an expert. I can see some terrain ahead. This weather sucks. We passed the airport. We got mountains coming up, so I'm gonna go ahead and start turning. Yeah, and this weather situation was not ideal, and my inexperience really got the better of me here. I need to learn ILS approaches. ILS approaches are approaches where you use instrument landing system, and I actually have done some research now in retrospect. Hindsight is 2020, but I'm going to practice ILS approaches. I'm just not very skilled, so I'm struggling here, and the weather just really turned bad on me and shows why I shouldn't fly a real plane. But anyways, I will warn you, the frame rate on the computer is going to dip soon. I found out the reason why is because I had volumetric clouds turned on, which is these, I guess the clouds are very highly generated with lots of detail. So I'll turn that down soon, and then the game will run better. But yeah, that happens. So yeah, I'm turning to try to line up with the airport that I can't see. What I really need to do is use instruments. I don't know how to do that right now though. I need learning that. I'm asking my co-pilot that I don't have. I'm doing this all on my own. It does suck to have to do everything on your own. A lot of planes have 2 pilots. This plane in real life can be flown with 1 pilot. It is 1 pilot certified, but that would probably be for a skilled pilot. I would love to have another pilot that could handle the radio and checking the airport charts. Letting me know what the airport headings are on the runways and stuff like that. So it does make it harder. I'm already not very skilled, and then having to do everything on my own. And also, it's harder in the game, I would imagine, versus real life. Having to look around the cockpit, I have to move my mouse around, and I have to click where I want to look, and then I have to click on the button. And it's just a lot of stuff while I'm flying. I'm going to take this time to also point out that I need to fix the audio. You can't hear the engines of the plane. I'm going to have that fixed in the next couple videos. Missed the airport. Alright. I can't see it. I can't see the airport. That's not the airport, by the way. That's a town. Alright, we're going to have to do another pass. The frame rate is terrible. I can't fly like this. Between the flying and the game running choppy. A lot of struggling. Yeah, like I said, lots of struggling. But it makes for quite an interesting experience here. I think this is where I fixed. Yeah, there you go. I fixed the volumetric clouds. I turned it off so the game didn't have to generate the clouds as, detailed. Tell my altitude too high. How about frame rate too low? I can't see what I'm doing. The frame rate is too low. Okay, never mind. I think the next time I'm gonna fix it. Flying right above these buildings. The airport, I think, is to my left. That's it over there? Yeah, that's it over there. The frame rate also decreases the game's ability to accept my commands. I would, push a button and it would hold a command. That's why I slid out of my seat back there. I slid to the right. I gave the game a command to move something, I don't know what, and then it took that as a command to slide my character to the right. That's what happens when the game runs poorly. It just makes everything compound on itself. Trying to click on something, this is a problem I have a lot, and see I moved back in my seat because it's not taking commands as well as it normally does, and I have to look at the button the right way to click on it. There, finally. It's very frustrating, and I'm not doing as much commentary here. I'm doing commentary after the fact because at this point I was just trying to fly and not crash, to be honest. I turned on my landing lights. I think that's all I could manage to muster at this point. I fear that I'm not a good enough pilot for this. Near invisible, near no visibility conditions. I'm a visual pilot. I don't really fly. That needs to change. I need to learn, get better at instrument flying, and I've started. I'm gonna do some practice flights, learning, and getting better at it. Next time I fly, when I take off from Santa Fe, I'm going to be selecting clear weather. I'm going to say my multi-millionaire alter ego hung out in Santa Fe for a while and waited for the weather to be clear. That's always my canon, my in-universe explanation for the weather being nice, is that my character just, like, this version of myself taking this world tour waited for the weather to be nice, however long that takes. I mean, it doesn't matter. I'm apparently a multi-millionaire. I have a jet, right? So I can wait however long it takes waiting for the weather to look nice until I get better, like I said, at doing instrument landings. Got some rain going on. Weather was terrible. You know, fun fact about the weather, it was live. It was set to live. So when I was flying this, all right, there really was this weather in Santa Fe, New Mexico. They really were experiencing this weather. They are in the desert, so that was unusual for them to have this weather, but leave it up to me to fly into Santa Fe with this weather. Real pilots would look at the weather systems that are, you know, coming in. They know what's happening. They know that a weather system will be appearing in their destination. I didn't do that, and I don't even know how to do that. Well, I guess I'd have to use real-life radars, right? But I didn't do that. I just started flying, and this is the consequence. But hold on to your seats and pray that we get to the airport, get down to the ground. If I really, really felt like this was impossible, I did make sure the plane was full of fuel when I left, and I have plenty of fuel left, so I would be able to divert and find an airport with better weather. Can't see. I can barely see. I think that's the airport. Has to be. Again, that's La Cienega again. Cienega. Where is the airport? I don't see the airport until we're like on top of it. There it is over there. Golly. I might have just landed a different runway. Just forget runway 10. Because I can't see the airport until I'm there, pretty much. I'm gonna have to just do this. I'm gonna have to come over here and just turn like really, really close. I just cannot stray very far from the airport. Because I lose sight of it as soon as I, you know. There'd be so many G-forces if you did this in real life. Holy shit. It would be like pin you into your seat. Is that it over there? What is that? That's not it. Is that it? That's not it, is it? No. Okay, where is the airport? What is that over there? I don't know. Where is it? I'm flying over it, aren't I? There it is. I'm not gonna try to land. Runway. What is that? 15? Okay, so which one is this one? This is so illegal. You're not supposed to do this. I don't know what runway we just pass, but I'm just gonna land at that runway because I can't see, and I don't know how to land when you can't see. There's some way pilots do it. I don't know how they do it. So let me just do it the way I know how to do it, my own way. It would be so scary to fly with me. But I get the job done, right? There's a beautiful view over here. Nice little canyon over here. I'm going to point this thing at 20 degrees. 25. 26. Nope. Landing flaps out. Oh, there's the runway. Gosh dang it. Like I said, I just can't see the runway until I'm on top of it. Terrible landing, but we're not down yet. Hold on. And smooth landing. There we go. How do real pilots land when they can't see anything? They do what's called instrument landing. They use instruments, and there is a way to essentially connect with the radio frequency that tells you, how high you should be, what heading you should be at. I don't know how to do that. That would really help if I did that. Oh my god, did you see that? I cannot believe that just happened. Well, I can. This game is bad about that. Ground vehicles do not respect aircraft. That was hilarious, by the way. Where can we park? Let's see. Got a little bit close to that little prop plane, huh? Oh, he wants me to go over there to the right. Oh well, I overshot it. Oh well. All right. All right. Let's go ahead and shut her down. Alright, well, that landing was horrible. We're going to make sure we take off with clear weather. So the millionaire, billionaire, whatever version of myself is going to hang out in Santa Fe, New Mexico for a while. Until we have good weather. See you next time.